Good day. Good day. It's a great honor for me, my fellow comrades from Indonesia. This is the 12th class of our journey, our course, the University Federal Fluminense from Brazil, the postgraduate course for workers. And I'm very honored. I always like to emphasize this because we always wanted to work with Indonesia, with India, and with China, especially because we believe this is the part of the world that is going forward. It's like a beacon for the future. And I would like to thank you all for your presence here. And I would like to ask for the future that if we can link to other countries in the region, with Timor-Leste, East Timor, Papua New Guinea, Brunei, Malaysia, Singapore. This will be great. But being with you here today, it's a great day. So we shall celebrate all these moments that we spent together. And I would like to give the word to Anga and to Mariati and to Isam so they can talk a little bit about Indonesia today. And we will do like we always did. I speak in English, then someone translates, and then comes back to me, and then we go, because it's important to have this in Bahasa. So the worker on the ground, he can understand what we are doing, because this is for the workers in Indonesia. It's not just to have memory. It's not just to have knowledge and investigation and education, but for the education of the workers of Indonesia and for our education in Brazil and the rest of the world. So I give you the floor. I don't know if Anga or Mariatti or Isam want to start. It's for you.
Yeah, Marcelo, I have English, but just a little bit. Maybe we can start uh, with slowly speech in English, Marcelo.
Okay.
I will translate to Indonesian.
Okay. So you just translate in Bahasa what I spoke. I think it's important to say that we are happy to be here, that we want to thank the Indonesians and for this class, and that we I hope to meet you soon, and to this course, to go to other places, and that was a great honor for me and for the university in Brazil to be with you.
Okay, Marcelo.
So who will do the translation? It will be Anga. It will be Mariatti. Who will do the translation?
Angga Marcelo, Angga.
Anga. So please, Anga, just say that in Bahasa, if that I'm very happy to be here. I'm very honored. Thank you, Jackie. How are you? That I'm very honored to be here. It's great for me, and this is just the beginning of what we will do. Anga, can you hear me?
Yes, Marcelo.
Okay. So just translate this beginning, please. Just say that I'm happy to be here. It's a great honor, and it's just the beginning.
Ya, Marcelo merasa terhormat untuk memulai uh, materi kali ini di pendidikan terakhir. Your turn, Marcelo.
Thank you. So the class today is about creating a strategic and sustainable work environment in Indonesia, building people power through the environment at work in the community, in the city, and society, and across sustainable supply chains. Give it back to you.
Oke, teman-teman, hari ini kita akan mempelajari bagaimana membangun power, terus lingkungan kerja di komunitas kita untuk keberlanjutan supply chain.
So,
Your turn, Marcelo.
Izam explained that our goal is to build a work environment for civil aviation, for dockers, for maritime. So this is our goal, to build a working environment. This idea of the place that we spend most of our time in the day, it's very important to be our environment. The place that we spend must be good, must be the place that we want to be. This is the main goal of this presentation.
Ya, presentasi ini untuk lingkungan maritim, untuk lingkungan pelabuhan dan lingkungan bandara.
Próximo, Patrícia. So, the concept of a sustainable work environment for port, strategic, and logistics workers there are two concepts, okay? The first one is building popular power, understood as the organized power of labor within its immediate sphere. So the working place is the immediate sphere, can also be defined as the power that dominates the work environment, and by controlling that environment, aspires to dominate supply chains and society at large. So we start by the place that we work. So I give it back to you. So I do it separate the two. Izam, go ahead.
Konsep lingkungan kerja yang berkelanjutan untuk pekerja pelabuhan yang sangat strategis dan logistik. Konsep ini membangun kekuatan populer yang dipahami sebagai kekuatan tenaga kerja yang terorganisir dalam lingkup langsungnya, juga dapat didefinisikan sebagai kekuatan yang mendominasi lingkungan kerja dan dengan mengendalikan lingkungan itu bercita-cita untuk mendominasi rantai pasokan dan masyarakat pada umumnya. Back to you, Marcel.
It's very important to understand. Thank you, Izam. It's very important to understand that our power, it's in the mirror of the place that we work. If the place that we work is bad, our power is low. If the place that we work is good, our power is bigger, is big. So it's the place that we work, this environment, this immediate sphere that defines the power that we have. I give it back to you, Izam.
Ya, power ini akan sangat berhasil jika lingkungannya mendukung, dan power ini sangat besar jika digunakan baik untuk pekerja pelabuhan, pekerja maritim, dan pekerja bandara.
And this power is ours collective, never individual. Even if you work alone, you are linked to this immediate sphere that is linked to other people. If you are in any of our professions that we do here, maritime, dockers, airline workers, you always work together. Your immediate sphere is a collective one. It's not an individual. So I give it back to you.
Power ini bisa untuk dilakukan baik di maritim, baik di pelabuhan, baik di bandara. Jadi konsep ini bisa digunakan di semua sektor pekerjaan untuk membangun kekuatan kelas pekerja.
And the other thing, when we name this work environment, is the right to a sustainable work environment that is grounded in the right to work. Every one of us has to demand the right to work as a human right and the guarantee of a stable labor market, the right to a nationally recognized professional benchmark wage. Indonesia needs a nationally recognized professional benchmark wage for airline workers, dockers, maritime, and other strategic and logistic workers. The right to decent working conditions and health standards. We spoke about mental health. So we need health standards and decent work conditions. The right to a culture of organized power managed exclusively by workers when they have power. When not, they will share this with the bosses. But we need to strive for that. We strive for that. We need to fight for that. That our culture and organized power as dockers, as airline workers, as maritime, as strategic and logistic workers be recognized by the bosses, and the right to share the wealth generated by the workers themselves. So if you look at the wealth that is generated at the airport, at the ports, at the shipyards, and the maritime connections and maritime transport, we see that generates a lot of wealth, and this wealth has to be shared with the workers. This entails advocating for a work environment that is economically, politically, socially, and environmentally sustainable. Spanning the workplace, we always start by the workplace. Residential areas, so the communities, society, and the supply chain. These are the two pillars of sustainable work environment for strategic port and logistic workers. Give it back to you.
Oke, hak atas lingkungan kerja yang berkelanjutan didasarkan pada hak untuk bekerja dan jaminan pasar tenaga kerja yang stabil. Hak atas upah, patokan profesional yang diakui secara nasional. Hak atas kondisi kerja yang layak dan standar kesehatan. Hak atas budaya kekuasaan terorganisir yang dikelola secara eksklusif oleh pekerja. Dan hak atas kekayaan bersama yang dihasilkan oleh para pekerja sendiri. Ini memerlukan advokasi untuk lingkungan kerja yang berkelanjutan secara ekonomi, politik, sosial, dan lingkungan yang mencakup tempat kerja, area perumahan, masyarakat, dan rantai pasok. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
So, Isam, it's very important to say that our work environment in Indonesia must serve the goals of the Indonesian workers. Please translate that.
Hal ini penting untuk lingkungan kerja kita di Indonesia, khususnya pekerja yang ada di sektor logistik, pekerja maritim, pelabuhan, dan bandara.
Thank you. Próximo, Patrícia. So the organization of a sustainable environment in workplaces, communities, cities, society, and within the supply chain and logistics is determined by two factors that is very important to understand in our aim to understand this work place, communities, cities, society, and the supply chain within sustainability, within an environment perspective. So, first of all, building up quality time through natural collective work and communal action. If you work at the airport, in a port, and if you are maritime, if you are a strategic logistic worker, you must understand that the more quality time within your natural collective work, within collective action, communal action, it will give more power. And when you are more individualized, it means less power. The more numbers and the quality of collective numbers you have, the more powerful you are. So, this is the first perspective, and I want to emphasize, give it back to you to translate, and then I will do the second one.
Ya, membangun waktu berkualitas melalui kerja kolektif alami dan aksi komunal. Puncak atau sintesis dari 12 bidang pembelajaran metodologi kerja adalah memahami peran strategis mereka dalam perjuangan kelas, pemikiran sosial nasional, kritis dan alamiah, analisis dari memahami tempat mereka dalam rantai logistik. Organisasi yang disempurnakan dalam Dewan Pekerja, budaya tempat kerja, front populer untuk mempertahankan hak-hak strategis, undang-undang ketenagakerjaan, dan manajemen modernisasi dan produktivitas yang dipimpin pekerja, internasionalisme sebagai solidaritas, kesehatan pekerja dan kesejahteraan mental, konteks ekonomi politik, sosial, tenaga kerja, dan ekologis, dan menghubungkan pekerja ke tempat kerja dan rumah mereka ke kota dan negara dan ke rantai logistik dan dunia yang lebih luas.
So what is if, just translated, it's both the first and the second. But I want to emphasize the meaning of building quality time through natural collective work. Indonesia has strong traditions in collective work and communal action. And this must be valued. Indonesia and Indonesian people have strong natural collective work capacities and strong natural communal collective capacity. And this must be emphasized because this will give power for this sustainable environment. And the other thing that is already translated is the synthesis of the 12 areas that we learn in our classes here. So first, we start with mental health and the health of the workers. We finish with the environmental issue from the workplace to the other environmental places, the community, the city, etc. Then you have the culture of the workers in Indonesia. You have the culture of dockers, of maritime, of airline workers, etc. Then you have all these elements that we aggregated in these 12 months that we spent together. We have the structure of organizing that's building up from the workplace, especially in councils. You have the popular front that defend everything that you want to be given to society is how to win society. You have the laws. It's very important to say that, comrades, you must put the rights in laws, in national laws. And for that, you have to be united. The way that the bosses look at management, modernization, productivity, it must be worker-led. We must see, as we are doing right now, linking Brazil and Indonesia, internationalism as solidarity. We must understand that it has to start with your understanding of a strategic role in the class struggle. You cannot think like a boss, you have to think as a worker. You We studied about the national social thought, the founding fathers of Indonesia, and we thought a lot about Tan Malaka thoughts in this way, and the critical scientific analysis reality, because we have to understand science to analyze what we are saying. It has to come from science, especially in the country that you have Muslims, Jews, you have Christians, you have Buddhists, you have people from all religions, all cultures. Science must be the link that links people, and not one religion over the other, one belief over the other, one thing over the other. No, it's science that must guide the development, the social and environment development of Indonesia, and understanding our place in the logistic chain. Very powerful. So it's just to give you ism, to have some translation again, to emphasize these 12 points because they are useful for the Indonesian strategy of workers. Give it back to you.
Oke, teman-teman, jadi yang disampaikan Marcelo tadi menyangkut tentang eh, bagaimana kita membangun kolektif dan bagaimana nanti kolektif tersebut memiliki power. Pertama, kita harus mulai dari eh, memastikan lingkungan kerja yang sehat disesuaikan dengan kultur di masing-masing sektor. Kalau dilihat dari partisipan di sini ada sektor maritim, pelabuhan, bandara, yang dimana semuanya adalah pekerja logistik, dan ini penting untuk dibangun terlebih dahulu supaya kita bisa memiliki power yang sangat kuat dan lebih gitu. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Yeah, Isam, it's very important to give also an image that the Bandung Congress and the idea that Indonesia does foreign policy, like a non-aligned foreign policy, it's also a way to understand all these 12 points. Indonesian vision of each one of these 12 key areas. It's an Indonesian development for the Indonesian working class and people. Give it back to you.
Marcelo, can you slow a bit?
Yeah, it's just to translate is that the Bandung Congress that got the non-alignment policy for Indonesia gives perspective of inventing its own thought, its own idea, its own strategy, an Indonesian strategy for the world, an Indonesian strategy for the 12 key areas that you have here. And it's the Indonesian vision that matters.
Ya, tadi yang disampaikan Marcelo adalah pada kongres, kalau saya nggak salah dengar tadi di Bandung, itu memberikan perspektif yang sangat strategis, yang dimana ada 12 kunci yang nampaknya yang dimaksud Marcelo ini ada di dalam slide. Jadi ini bisa dijadikan catatan untuk mengakselerasi apa yang kita pelajari pada malam hari ini. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Yeah, it's a non-aligned and Indonesian perspective of economic, political, social, labor, and ecological context. is for the Indonesian working class, the Indonesian people, to define what is better for them. Próximo, Patrícia. The development of a training and research program regarding the management, culture, history, and memory of strategic and logistic workers in Indonesia. So, to develop our management, culture, history, and memory, and our own strategic and logistic workers' perspective, we must develop a training and research program that is based in Indonesia. And that's what we are trying to do now. To leave behind an agenda focused on investigating specific problems, a legacy, and preserving a record that enables dialogue with society. So the future workers, society right now, we can dialogue with it, thereby creating a framework for mutual defense and a sustainable working environment that takes tangible form within communities, cities, society at large, and humanity's supply chains. Sustainable work to build a sustainable future for humanity from Indonesia. The specific priority of the occupational group will align with society's broader priorities. So you as a docker present, you as an airline worker present, you as a maritime present, and it will align with society broader priorities, thereby elevating both the organization and collective awareness. Give it back to you, Izam.
Oke, untuk membangun kultur, histori, dan ingatan, kita harus mulai untuk melakukan latihan dan riset supaya kita dapat memetakan masalah sehingga masalah tersebut kemudian bisa dibicarakan, bisa dijadikan bahan diskusi, bisa dijadikan obrolan, baik itu di masyarakat kelas pekerja ataupun di teman-teman kerja yang ada di komunitas kita. Jadi silakan baik itu maritim, baik itu pelabuhan ataupun bandara, silakan presentasikan prioritas utama kita, terutama untuk membangun power di kolektif kita. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Yeah, it's very important to understand that our demands must meet the demands of society, Indonesian society, if we do research, training, programs. If we try to understand what the society needs and what we need, it will develop our capacities within management, culture, history, and memory. If we do that, this is what I want to emphasize here. Próximo, Patrícia, por favor. I want to give you in this debate perspective of one of my professors. His name is Michel Levy. You can Google it later to know a bit of his ideas. So it's a way that we can combine the Brazilian view of Indonesia and Indonesians' view of Indonesia and a global view of Indonesia, and also a global view from Indonesia to the world. So the Michel Levy and the shaping of the workers' environment in society is the way to try to have Indonesian view of its own environment, its own society, but also a global perspective. It's a pedagogy of the revolution of the immediate environment. The work environment is the immediate environment. The Teachings of Michel Levy, Radical Political Engagement Within Labor Unions. And I have to explain this. I will do it slowly so you can translate it, okay, Isam? I will do it step by step. So I give it back to you and I will go again. Okay, Isam? You do it.
Oke, Marcelo. Tadi ada yang dikatakan penting dari Marcelo. Jadi permintaan kita atau kepentingan kita sebagai pekerja akan terpetakan, akan diketahui jika kita sudah menjalankan pelatihan, terus sudah melakukan riset. Dan Marcelo juga ingin menyampaikan apa yang diberikan sama Michelle. Jadi Marcelo memberikan perspektif Michelle untuk Indonesia ataupun negara lain. Di Indonesia, Marcelo mengatakan bahwasanya misal juga turut membangun tentang kekuatan ataupun tentang serikat pekerja, di mana bagaimana serikat pekerja bisa menghasilkan aksi untuk membangun sebuah komunitas yang memang berguna untuk lingkungan kerja dan komunitasnya. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Yeah, now I will do it slowly so you can translate step by step. This, I believe, is useful for the workers in Indonesia. First, when you have workers that are linked to radical political engagement inside the labor unions, you have stronger unions. So this is the first thing. When you look at your members, when they engage in radical political issues, you have stronger unions. This is the first thing. I give it back to you to translate.
Oke, jadi ketika kita punya politik yang radikal dan yang kuat, maka organisasi kita pun akan kuat. Itu nanti akan terbangun sendiri dari para anggota di komunitas dan organisasi kita.
The second thing
is
thank you. When you have the maturing of conscience through the praxis of action in councils, when you get to organize the workers in grassrooted councils, committees, working place study groups, etc., and through debates on religion, gender, minorities, and ecology, you have stronger unions. When you have structure, refined, organizing at the base, and when you are able to debate about religion, about gender issues, minorities, ecology of your workplace, of city, society, Indonesia, the world, then you have a stronger union. Give it back to you.
Oke, yang kedua, ketika kamu punya kekuatan untuk mengorganising bagaimana di tempat kerja membentuk kelompok belajar, kelompok diskusi, kelompok yang bisa bertukar pendapat, dan di kelompok tersebut terisi berbagai macam gender, berbagai macam agama, dan kelompok minoritas, maka kamu akan memiliki organisasi yang cukup memiliki kekuatan atau power.
Why do I say that? Because Indonesia is the biggest Muslim country in the world, but we have other religions. So when we debate this and we don't see the divisions of the workers, of the Indonesian people in religion factions, but everything working for the good of Indonesia. This is one point that make the trade union stronger. The second thing, when we understand that half of the working population is a woman, is women. So you must address gender issues. You make the union stronger. When we don't let the minorities be attacked because they are minorities, we are making the union stronger. And when we begin to look our environmental place and strategy from the workplace, but to look at the whole of Indonesia, whole of a supply chain, the planet, we are making the link between us and society stronger. That's what I want to emphasize. And I give it back to you, Isam.
Oke, kenapa Marcelo mengatakan itu? Karena Marcelo mengetahui di Indonesia itu memiliki ragam budaya, ragam agama, bahkan ragam bahasa, sehingga dan juga ragam jenis pekerja, sehingga Marcelo memastikan keragaman tersebut membuat lingkungan organisasi kita dapat membangun kekuatannya untuk terutama untuk membangun lingkungan kerja yang sehat atau lingkungan organisasi yang sehat. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
And finally, the third point is the defense of the workplace, because we stay more time in the workplace in many situations than with our own family. So the workplace is very important, this environment. So the defense of the workplace and community environment as a revolutionary defense of a new society. When we change the environment in our community, and especially in our workplace, we are changing deeply in a revolutionary way, and we are aiming for a new society. So this is the third point that makes our trade unions stronger. Give it back to you.
Ya, terakhir kita harus memastikan bagaimana memiliki komunitas yang lingkungannya sehat, yang lingkungannya baik, sehingga komunitas ataupun organisasi yang kita bangun sama-sama itu cukup memiliki kekuatan yang bisa mengerjakan apa yang menjadi prioritas dari komuniti kita. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Próximo, Patrício. So now we will go through more deep in what is to be done according to Michel Levy's idea of environmental and environment deep change in society, and how it makes the trade unions stronger. So tasks for building a robust defense through a work environment that is economically, politically, socially, environmentally sustainable. So building workers' sovereignty in the workplace and the community is part of the struggle for state sovereignty and popular power. So this is part of making Indonesia strong and popular power in Indonesia stronger. This struggle for popular power begins at the grassroots level in workplace, working class neighborhoods, rural communities, school, and barracks within the army as well. It is grounded, especially in the Indonesian case, the barracks is important. It is grounded in the active, conscious self organization of the exploited and oppressed as they fight to win political power. The working class, organized and mobilized, is an autonomous and militant manner through councils, becomes aware of its strategic role as workers that is in its capacity to disrupt and alter the system's normal functioning, whether within the supply chain or across the system as a whole. Yet the struggle for social transformation and for a break with capitalism can only emerge from the unity of all. Unity. I always say how important is to have unity among workers in Indonesia, among the federations. Everyone's participation is essential to build a movement of vast majority, one capable of overcoming every obstacle and reversing the situation of the balance of power and the course of history. So please translate that. These are deep ideas of Michel Levy on what is to be done with my own ideas mixed. So it's the way that I see that we can contribute to the strengthening of Indonesia's situation, Indonesian trade unions, and the Indonesian working class. Give it back to you, Izam.
Oke, jadi yang dikatakan Marcelo pertama, ekonomi, politik, dan keberlanjutan lingkungan itu menjadi indikator bagaimana membuat orang-orang yang berada di dalam lingkungan kita atau community kita itu kuat. Tapi yang perlu diingat kembali, lingkungan community kita itu harus memiliki aturan sehingga nantinya akan lebih memudahkan untuk mengorganising, lalu akan lebih memudahkan kita juga untuk membangun kapasitas dan persatuan membuat khawatir para pemilik modal atau kapital, dan gerakan orang atau gerakan anggota di komunitas kita sebenarnya adalah harapan bagi perubahan untuk serikat, untuk organisasi, untuk komunitas kita. Di feedback to you, Marcelo.
So, próximo, Patrícia. These are the core ideas of how to make an environment that is economically, politically, socially, and environmentally sustainable. So, what to do and how to do it? It's not just what to do; it's how to do it. So these tasks are designed to raise awareness, because if we don't raise awareness, we don't have a stronger union, because we have members that are not conscious about the importance of a work environment. It's where they work, and it must be economically, politically, socially, and environmentally sustainable. The task of raising awareness about the importance of a socially sustainable work environment within the context of our century, the 21st century, production and circulation of goods, commodities, and people falls to revolutionaries and relies on concrete, available means. So I come back on Tamalaka's idea. It's for the vanguard, it's for the ones that have awareness, and it relies on concrete, available means. We work with the digital tools like we are doing now, but also with leaflets. I would love to sit down with Anga, with Isam, with Mariachi, and again with Jackie to look face to face and discuss. So we use leaflets to discuss with people. We do lectures as we are doing now. You are professors. You are teachers to do that from our perspective, from adult working class education perspective. Training sections, public libraries, we have to emphasize and give enthusiasm for our workers to go to the libraries and read. Yet the most significant contribution to awakening critical and class conscience, and consequently revolutionary conscience, lies in the struggle itself. I can go to a public library, do research, study a lot, but if I don't get together in a struggle, I will not learn. I need to be in the struggle to learn, in the experience of that struggle. and in the experience of collective action through strikes, occupations, demonstrations, barricades, insurrections. It depends on what the people want to do it. We shall be with the people and help the people, Indonesian people. So revolutionaries must not content themselves with merely disseminating documents and knowledge. We cannot be bureaucratic trade unions, but we must disseminate struggle, disseminate science, disseminate our will for a radical change within society. It doesn't matter if a strong, beautiful, powerful country if the workers and the people live bad. So we need it to raise their awareness of the development of Indonesia must mean the development of its own people. So rather, we must actively contribute through participation, to self-organization of the exploited and oppressed, and to their militant mobilization for this end. Make Indonesia better for its working class and its people. Give it back to you, Izam.
Oke, yang kedua yang tadi disampaikan Marcelo, apa yang harus kita lakukan untuk mencari sebuah ide bagaimana keberlanjutan lingkungan, politik, dan ekonomi. Karena hal itu pertama harus kita bangun berdasarkan kepedulian kita. Jadi kita harus peduli dengan anggota di komunitas kita ataupun di organisasi kita. Seperti yang tadi dikatakan Marcelo, kalau saya tidak salah tangkap, seperti ide Tan Malaka, yaitu bagaimana menjunjung tinggi tentang kepedulian terhadap sesama. Selanjutnya, Marcelo juga mengatakan sektor maritim, pelabuhan, bandara itu jika saya tidak salah perlu melakukan diskusi untuk membicarakan perspektif yang baru supaya semua anggota di masing-masing sektor, baik maritim, pelabuhan, dan bandara, itu terbangun antusiasnya. Sehingga anggota yang ada di masing-masing sektor memiliki pandangan yang kritis dan revolusioner. Dan kemudian apa yang menjadi tuntutan pekerja, lalu berimplikasi kepada mogok dan pendudukan di tempat kerja, rasa-rasanya itu akan lebih akan terlihat hasilnya, kurang lebih seperti itu. Maka terakhir, kekuatan harus dibangun dan pengetahuan harus terus digali supaya kita bisa sama-sama melihat negara atau pemangku kepentingan di Indonesia memiliki keberpihakan kepada pekerja. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
It's important to say that they say, the West and the East, that Indonesia will be the third most developed and powerful country in 2050. But just behind India and behind China. But it will not be if the work environment is not economically, politically, socially, and environmentally sustainable, because it will not serve to Indonesian working class and Indonesian. And that's the awareness that we have to work, to raise their awareness that development in Indonesia must mean work environment is economically, politically, socially, and environmentally sustainable. I would like you to translate that, please, Izam.
Ya, Marcelo mengatakan ada hal yang penting juga. Pertama, Indonesia digadang-gadang mungkin para pemangku kepentingan atau para politikus di Indonesia mengatakan Indonesia akan jadi negara yang memiliki power kalau nggak salah di tahun 2050. Tapi tetap power yang digadang-gadang akan dimiliki Indonesia itu ada di belakang India, sehingga ini seperti momentum yang memang harus diciptakan oleh komunitas atau organisasi kita supaya bagaimana langkah kita kemudian bisa turut membangun apa yang menjadi kepentingan kita untuk sama-sama memperbaiki segala kepentingan ataupun segala kebutuhan di lingkungan kerja. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Próximo, Patrícia, por favor. And Michel Levy thought it's about the course of action. So it's not just thought and course of action. It must be both. It must combine both. The goal of building a deep defense operation is to subordinate all bourgeois forces in society to all popular forces. It cannot be a development in Indonesia to serve the people, to serve the popular forces, if the bourgeois forces are not subordinated to the state and the government strategy from the popular power. This is important to say because development is not enough in itself. So we need to think within the framework of building popular power. Development without popular power is not enough in order to construct a society that is economically, politically, socially, and ecologically sustainable. So Michel Levy's thought and course of action are in this direction. Building an economically sustainable society is a crucial challenge of our time, of 2026, the 21st century. This system, championed by the forces of the bourgeoisie, is driving us to destroy everything we hold dear, including the ecological foundations of humanity's survival on this planet. But it starts with our family. It starts with our working place, with our community. Everything that we hold dear. Only an anti-capitalist mobilization, the construction of a popular power capable of establishing a new system of ecology and socialism. The socialism here is what the Indonesian people will say it's socialism. It's to be invented by the Indonesian people and the working class. A sustainable environment for society is conceivable. This system must be built from the grassroots. It must be debated from the grassroots in the workplace, residential areas, and so forth, through the exercise of popular power. To achieve this, it is necessary to unite and converge social and ecological struggles, grasping the strategic significance of this grassroots concept, and adopt a grassroots anti-capitalist strategy in order to profoundly transform the entire logistical structure of society and humanity. I give it back to you, these important ideas of Michel Levy Isam.
Ya, Marcelo mengatakan ini penting dari myself. Nah, ini tentang bagaimana kita harus membangun persatuan pekerja. Mengapa ini kemudian menjadi penting? Karena perkembangan di komunitas atau di organisasi saja itu tidak begitu cukup jika tidak membangun kekuatan anggota atau kekuatan basis kita. Ekonomi, politik, dan lingkungan kerja yang berkelanjutan sangat memiliki kaitan erat dengan kekuatan anggota kita, sehingga sangat dianjurkan untuk melakukan diskusi yang menguji bagaimana cara berpikir anggota kita di akar rumput, serta menguji bagaimana strategi dan konsep yang kita miliki, apakah kemudian strategi dan konsep tersebut memang cukup bisa efektif ketika dilakukan bersama-sama oleh kawan-kawan anggota ataupun teman-teman di akar rumput. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
So it's very important here to understand that this ecology and this socialism, that this deep construction of a new society for Indonesia that will cope development and the development of the people and the working class and the environment, economically, politically, socially, and ecologically sustainable, it's doable for Indonesian people. And it will fight climate change that makes the race of the ocean and make not viable the life in the islands of Indonesia, especially in the most important cities in the coast. So we have to address that. And it's for the Indonesian people to address that. What kind of development we want for Indonesia? What kind of labor laws we want for Indonesia? What kind of communities we work for Indonesia? What kind of political power, people's power, popular power we want for Indonesia? All these issues are feasible if we have stronger trade unions, stronger militants, stronger people in the Indonesia. And this is for the Indonesians to choose the way they want to do it and how they want to do it and when they want to do it. So I give it back to you, Izan, because this is important to emphasize.
Ya, ini sangat penting juga. Jadi kita perlu memahami bagaimana konstruksi masyarakat di Indonesia. Apa yang kita bangun untuk komunitas atau community kita di Indonesia, apa yang kita bangun untuk organisasi pekerja atau organisasi serikat pekerja kita di masing-masing sektor, dan apa yang harus kita lakukan untuk memiliki militansi agar semua yang menjadi strategi dan konsep bisa dilakukan secara bersama-sama, sehingga selanjutnya kita bisa menentukan apa yang menjadi kekuatan kita. Maka selanjutnya kita bisa merealisasikan apa yang sudah kita bangun ketika kita sudah memahami bagaimana konstruksinya dan kita sudah membicarakan hingga levelan anggota di komunitas atau anggota di organisasi kita. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
When I see Brazil integrating Latin America with Mexico, so from Mexico to Brazil, Chile, Argentina, all the other countries, there are 31 countries in Latin America, and we're trying to integrate that. And when I see Indonesia as an example of development, social, environmental, political, economical, ecological, sustainable example for Papua New Guinea, for Brunei, for Malaysia, for Singapore, for all these countries in the region, Indonesia can be an example, but only if Indonesian people are stronger through popular power, if they can subdue all bourgeois forces in society to all popular forces. Then the government, then the state of Indonesia will serve the people of Indonesia, will serve the working class. And the trade unions, they have a lot of responsibility to cope this new system of ecology and sustainable environment for society, for what we call socialism. Then I give it back to you, Izan.
Ya, Marcelo mengatakan ketika melihat Brazil, Chili, Meksiko, dan lainnya, dia mulai mengintegrasikan keadaan sosial, politik, ekonomi, seperti contohnya adalah Papua New Guinea. Jika pekerja di Indonesia punya kekuatan seperti apa yang telah dilakukan oleh masyarakat Papua, maka pemerintah akan menerima apa yang menjadi usulan atau tuntutan dari pekerja itu sendiri di masing-masing sektor. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Yeah, I forgot to say East Timor, Timor-Leste, that it has the very strong link with Brazil, and I just want to recall this. Próximo, Patrícia. So, not merely to withstand the attack, because we're saying this, but we are under attack. We are under attack by the bosses all the time, by the forces that don't want us to develop, don't want us to have a social development, an ecological development, an economical development, a political development. So, but we need to withstand the attack. We need to build a staunchly a strong and deep defense, but we staunchly defend our purpose as the purpose of humanity, because when we talk about collective issues. So I give you again the thoughts of Michel Levy, but I combine them with Zhukov. Zhukov was a general from the Soviet Union that defeated the fascists, the Nazis in Europe, and he built this concept of defense in death. Okay, when we have a stronger attacker, a stronger opponent, a stronger enemy on the other side, we need to build a defense in depth that involves anticipating the attack. When the bosses, when the government, when anybody that wants to harm the trade unions, the workers' rights, the communities, the working class, the people of Indonesia, we must anticipate the attack, preparing a deepening the defense posture. We preparing and deepening the defensive posture, extending lines of contact, forcing the enemy to traverse great distance and overcome obstacles, imposing a high cost on the enemy's advance, and deciding the outcome of the war through counterattacks and the clash of massed forces. This is an allegory of what Zhukov thought, but we can use these thoughts to counterattack and to involve the masses in our purpose against the attacker or the permanent attacker, the bourgeoisie forces that don't want to subdue to the collective forces of Indonesia. And the other one, the Michel Levy line, would be the environment is built collectively within a specific territory. So we as is the engagement, is the political engagement within a specific territory that will give you a bigger perspective. The more sustainable the environment, the greater its popular power. Only through collective organization can a sustainable environment adequately respond to the crisis facing humanity in the 21st century. The energy crisis, the pandemic, the crisis of violence, terrorism and war, climate crisis, and the social and political crisis. This construction relies on resilient preparation based on data and anticipation, communication, and in-depth operations involving cadres, what we are forming now here, the masses, and society at large. So these two visions is to face our adversaries. The lines of Zhukov and the line of Levy are allegories to give you tools to enable to build an environment that is economically, socially, political, ecologically sustainable. Give it back to you, Izam.
Ya, tadi Marcelo menyampaikan bahwasanya dia memiliki sumber ataupun data bagaimana organisasi yang berkolektif ataupun organisasi yang ataupun komunitas yang berkolektif itu ternyata bisa menandingi ketika suatu krisis terjadi seperti yang kemarin di 2019 ada pandemi yang menghantam Indonesia. Nah, selanjutnya di sisi lain kita juga perlu menyadari bahwasanya kita harus terus mengupayakan juga bagaimana kita agar terus berkolektif karena kita selalu berada di bawah tekanan, baik tekanan bos, tekanan negara melalui aturannya, lalu ada tekanan ekonomi, tekanan politik, maka kita harus mengantisipasi semuanya. Tujuannya adalah untuk kolektif kita. Ketika kita punya kolektif yang kuat, maka lawan sekuat apapun kita bisa antisipasi. Nah, antisipasi yang kita lakukan ini ditujukan untuk masyarakat di Indonesia tentunya, selanjutnya untuk pekerja di masing-masing sektor, ada bandara, pelabuhan, dan maritim, sehingga ketika bisa mengantisipasi semuanya, kita bisa memutuskan sama-sama dari komunitas kita masing-masing bagaimana cara mengatasi atau mengkonter serangan yang memang nantinya berbahaya untuk kolektif kita. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
This is very important to say, Isam and comrades, that we cannot build a workplace environment only through negotiating. You have to prepare for the struggle. The struggle will give you better negotiation. Not better negotiation will give you less or better struggle. It's the contrary. The more prepared you are for the struggle with these two lines, understanding the line of Zhukov and understanding the line of Levy, understanding that you must build a counterattack and a clash of massive forces, gaining society for your demands. And the line of Levy, that the workplace, the environment is built collectively from a specific territory to the planet, changing society at large, that will give you perspective and better negotiation, not the other way around. I give it back to you, Isam.
Ya, Marcelo menambahkan bahwasanya ada hal yang penting juga. Jadi kita tidak bisa membangun kita tidak bisa mengharapkan keberlanjutan dengan negosiasi. Maka kita tidak boleh bernegosiasi. Artinya kita harus membuat kapasitas di masing-masing community, di masing-masing organisasi kita itu kuat. Dan juga kita harus mengerti bagaimana mengatasi serangan yang akan terjadi di masing-masing teritori atau di masing-masing ruang lingkup komunitas kita, sehingga kita bisa lebih beradaptasi untuk memastikan apa yang menjadi kepentingan kita dan memenangkan apa yang menjadi kepentingan kita. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Thank you, Isam. Próximo, Patricia. Now we're going to the end of our presentation, presenting two things. First, as I spoke about struggle, as I spoke about our aim to build an environment from the grassroots, from the workplace, that will touch society, all the pillars of society. We need to understand the measuring forces. We need to understand the three pillars that we must understand within our workers. I was speaking with a comrade that we just did the course in Turin, comrade Sabine from Singapore, that I invited for this presentation. And I spoke about one of these pillars. So the scale of participatory organization, because she complained that most of the workers don't want to participate nowadays in the trade union. So we must, the first pillar, measuring our forces, preparing ourselves for the struggle, for the negotiation as well. But first, for the struggle, we need to understand the scale of participatory organization, building the collective arsenal. This is very important. Collective arsenal, collective tools, collective means. So first, we need to understand in the environment that we work, who is the major employer? Because we will not organize the major employer. Then we need to understand those who have the mind of the speculator, are always talking about money, about individual issues. How can he become rich? This is not to be organized. Or it will be organized in the process, but not at the beginning. Then you have the employer representative that sometimes is more representative of the employer than the employer itself. He's more employer than the employer itself. So he will not be organized as a first target because it's the employer speaking. Then you have those who have a self-employed professional ideas. He is working at the docks, at the airport, at the ship. He is in the maritime business, but he's thinking about having his own business. And this is not a problem. But if he has its own business, and it's more important that his working environment, then it's not a target to be organized at first. Then you have the small business owner, and this is not a problem either. If he wants to have his own business, it's okay, because we can be multi-function people. We can play violin in the morning and work in the afternoon and go out with our wife in the evening. This is not a problem. We can take care of business that we like. We can go to a hobby that we love, but we have to look at our work environment as a priority. So we need to look for workers that see our working place environment as a priority. And these are the ones that we want to organize, want to form, want to develop in the scale of participatory organization. It's for you to build the collective arsenal in Indonesia and determine what will be the collective participatory tool for participatory organization. So, Isam, I will do one by one. I just want you to translate the first one so I can go to the other ones, okay? Thank you. The first paragraph.
Okay.
So you can translate the first
Can
one.
I translate? Oke, Marcelo. Jadi, Marcelo tadi menyampaikan pada intinya siapapun kita, apapun hobi kita, itu bukan sebuah masalah. Kita harus tetap ingat bahwasanya kita memiliki lingkungan kerja yang dimana lingkungan kerja kita atau community kita atau organisasi kita itu perlu menjadi prioritas. Nah, apa yang tadi sudah disampaikan, Marcelo membicarakan juga tentang kekuatan, tentang keberlanjutan lingkungan di tempat kerja atau di community kita. Nah, jangan lupa untuk melibatkan partisipasi anggota karena itu adalah kunci dari kekuatan serikat pekerja. Persiapkan juga kekuatannya, persiapkan juga pengetahuannya, bahwasanya kolektif yang sudah militan, lingkungan kerja yang sudah bisa di mapping, serta kita sudah memiliki anggota yang sangat mayoritas, itu sangat menjadi penting untuk kita miliki, terutama untuk di 3 sektor yang pada malam hari ini terlibat. Ada sektor maritim, pelabuhan, dan bandara. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
So the second pillar of this tree that we want to understand the grassroots we will win is the scale of consciousness. Okay, the scale of raising awareness, conscience. So the scale of consciousness, education, and political culture of the workers that we organize. If we don't understand this scale, if we don't make research on this, we don't understand our trade union. So the first kind of workers, they are usually thinking only about the right to work, the wages, and decent and robust rights. If you go to the McDonald's and order a hamburger, you will find workers like that. They think about work, about wages, about decent, about good environment, mental health sometimes, but they can even think about how they will get pensions and have robust rights. But it will end in this. But this is not enough for dockers, maritime, airline workers, strategic and logistic workers. They need to think more than that. We need to raise the bar, raise the scale of consciousness, education, and political culture. This is very important. So, participating in the labor market control and aiming for exclusivity. What is participating in the labor market control is like interfering in the government's policy for more jobs in docks, more jobs in the airline business, more jobs in the maritime business. This is what we, as dockers, as maritime, as airline workers, should be doing. So, participating in the labor market strategy, in the government strategy for this business, and aiming for participation in organizing. So exclusivity means the dockers sometimes they have that is that only those organized, only those formed, only those who have a register can work. And this is not easy to do. We will see the third scale in the moment, and we understand that. And consciously intervening regarding the need to share the wealth created. If you work at the dock, at the airline business, and the maritime business, you see that the amount of wealth created is huge. So we must demand that part of this wealth or the totality of this wealth is shared with the workers, with the communities, with the Indonesian society, Indonesian people, Indonesian working class. And this is our aim. If we have this strict conscience, then we are raising the bar. If we stick just in wages, working conditions, decent work, right to work, it's not enough. So this is the second scale, the second pillar that we are discussing here. Give it back to you, Izam.
Ya, kita punya pilar kedua, yaitu bagaimana tentang meningkatkan kepedulian di basis atau di anggota. Nah, kita perlu memahami pertama bagaimana kultur politik kita. Nah, ketika kita sudah memahami kultur politik kita, artinya kita perlu melangsungkan agenda pendidikan tentang politik. Jadi jadi ketika anggota yang ada di akar rumput ataupun di basis kita sudah mengerti tentang pendidikan politik, maka rasanya itu harus cepat di organizing. Nah, selain itu kita juga perlu berpikir bagaimana mengkontrol partisipasi dari anggota serikat. Kenapa? Karena partisipasi dari anggota serikat itu adalah strategi untuk mengorganising yang eksklusif supaya apa yang menjadi keinginan untuk kepentingan pekerja itu bisa tercapai. Nah, karena yang malam hari ini hadir ada dari sektor pelabuhan, maritim, dan bandara. Semuanya adalah rantai pasok untuk logistik. Sehingga dapat disimpulkan pekerja yang berada di rantai pasok logistik itu sangat memiliki kekuatan yang besar. Jadi posisinya sangat vital sehingga ada kalanya di kemudian hari kita bisa saling bersolidaritas dan berbagi sesama pekerja logistik untuk mencapai kemenangan dari kepentingan pekerja itu sendiri. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
So to understand this second pillar, we have to understand the third pillar also. That's the management, the working class management. The dockers, they understand this very well. But the maritime and the airline workers, the strategic workers, the logistic workers must understand the scale of management, of workers' management through councils when they are stronger. So first, you have an employment tie. If you have an employment tie, is the basic. Okay, so if you're working for an airline and you have an employment tie, this is the basic thing that you can have. Because sometimes the boss doesn't want even an employment tie. They want you to be working for yourself, and then he doesn't give you any right, and he give you the minimum wage. This is his aim. But having an employment tie under a collective bargaining agreement, under national Indonesian laws, is one part of the scale. It's the minimum one, but it's one. It's what we call decent work. But it's not a powerful work. It's a decent work. Okay? So this is the first. The second one that we can say is what the dockers have in the ILO. It's called priority. When the bosses need workers, they go to the trade union and then ask for those who are organized. They have the priority to work. So this is something that if we want to construct a workplace environment, we need to struggle for priority. The boss has to call those who are organized, unionized, those who were formed by the trade union, were formed by the labor class to defend their rights, to defend not just its employment tie, but its own priority to work. The third one that I spoke first in the scale is much stronger is the exclusivity. So the boss will not just look for priority, but it will look for an exclusive corp of workers that he can use. He cannot go outside in the street and look for workers. He has, by the force of law, by the force of collective agreement, to work with exclusivity, so that the workers within the trade union are linked by an exclusivity force. They are professional, they are prepared, they are understood as the best, and they will have on the other side the understanding of the state of Indonesia, of the understanding of the government in Indonesia. They are the ones with the exclusive right to work in this profession. This is not easy to do. It's very difficult, but it should be aimed. Many of the dockers, like in Brazil, they have this exclusivity clauses within the law that the bosses have to look for it. And then you have the final stage, is a monopoly of the organizing the means of production. They are in the hands of the workers. So the state looks for the workers to organize production, and the bosses, they participate, but they don't have the monopoly of the means of production. These are the workers that have the monopoly, not the bosses. In the case of exclusivity, the bosses have the monopoly and the workers have the exclusivity. In the case of monopoly of the workers have monopoly and exclusivity. So the scale of workers' management is on the top. Though these factors provide a concrete measure of balance of power at the grassroots level. And this is what gives the scale of power of workers. If they're in employment type, in the priority, sometimes the bosses, they ask the trade union to employ someone. They will ask to fire, to discharge someone, to form someone. So they give priority to the trade union. Sometimes they are tied by the law, so this is exclusivity. And sometimes the power to carry the means of production. These are in the hands of the workers. So these are the four ways to measure the management. And this is stronger when the workers is organized just not as just members and direction of the trade union, but working councils. So I give it back to you to explain the scale of port workers management through councils. Izam, please.
Oke, jadi kita perlu memahami skala atau ukuran yang harus kita berangkat dari tiga pilar tadi. Jadi secara keseluruhan kita harus membaca tiga pilar yang tadi disampaikan oleh Marcelo. Lalu selanjutnya kolektif pekerja bisa menentukan power yang nantinya bisa meningkatkan kondisi kerja yang layak. Bahkan sampai menentukan bagaimana kita bisa mendapatkan upah yang layak. Selanjutnya kita perlu kuat untuk memenangkan prioritas anggota di komunitas kita masing-masing. Nah, yang jadi catatan adalah bos bukanlah prioritas. Prioritas kita semua adalah komunitas yang kuat. Kadang mereka mengikat kita dengan sebuah aturan, namun kita perlu sama-sama supaya tidak terjerat dengan aturannya, maka kita perlu menetapkan apa yang menjadi prioritas kita di tiga pilar tadi. Ukurannya atau skalanya ada di tiga pilar yang tadi sudah disampaikan oleh Marcelo. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
So it's just thank you so much, Izam. This is important. Thank you so much, because the scale of these three pillars to measure our forces is the basic condition to understand where we are and how can we build the working place environment. If we don't have the scale of participatory organizing, so the collective awareness, the collective arsenal, we cannot do it. If we don't study the scale of consciousness, of education and political culture, of our workers, our members, we cannot do it. If we don't study the measuring of power between our management and the boss's management, we cannot build a working place environment. So I give it back to you, because these three pillars are very important for us to build, to study them in Indonesia, and to build the workplace environment.
Ya, jadi kita harus memiliki skala atau ukuran. Ketika kita tidak memiliki skala atau ukuran yang tiga hal tadi disampaikan oleh Marcelo, maka kita tidak bisa melakukan apa-apa sebagai serikat pekerja atau sebagai community serikat atau sebagai community di tempat kerja. Maka kita perlu memahami secara mendalam bersama-sama dengan anggota atau dengan partisipan atau dengan partisipasi di komunitas masing-masing untuk bagaimana membuat 3 pilar itu menjadi sebuah agenda supaya membentuk kekuatan anggota. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
So, próximo, Patrícia. So, to finish, my dear comrades, after going through this 12 classes, we can aim for the tests. So, tests aimed at building people's power within a lasting workplace environment as an example for humanity. So, when we speak with anybody, bosses, government, work comrades, we can say we are building our workplace environment as an example for humanity. We want to make our workplace environment, our community environment, our city environment, our society in Indonesia environment, our logistic chain environment as an example for humanity. Our goal is collective. So building an ecologically sustainable society is a crucial task for workers and society in our time. It is a revolutionary task that begins at the grassroots level, creating a strategic and sustainable work environment right now through actions at both micro and macro levels, at both in a specific port or airport or ship and in a specific city, and macro as in Indonesia, as in supply chain, as in the planet levels, to strengthen the power of the collective within the individual and vice versa. So the collective in the individual. If we have individuals that are not collective, if they don't have collective culture, we cannot strengthen the power and we cannot strengthen the individual. When our demands align with the demands of all, so when our demands as dockers, as maritime, as airline workers, strategic workers, logistic workers, align with the demands of the Indonesian society, we can prevail. If they don't align, we shall fall, and we don't want to fall. We want to prevail. So we have to align our demands with the demands of Indonesian society. This construction relies on both the workers we know, the ones we are used to talk, and the ones that we do not know, aiming to build a resilient and sustainable future for humanity from the workplace. So we have to talk to people that we don't know. We have to organize the workers we don't know. Of course, understanding the scale, the priorities, strengthening workers' power, and ensuring a sustainable natural environmental bolsters collective strength. That's what we want, to strengthen workers and populace power, enabling us to overcome all obstacles on the path to liberation from labor exploitation, to build a just society on a sustainable planet, free from exploitation, oppression, and destruction. These are the aims on building a workplace environment as an example for humanity. And I give it back to you, Izam.
Ya, Marcelo mengatakan jika kita ingin membuat atau membangun lingkungan komunitas atau organisasi yang berkelanjutan, maka saat ini kita perlu tindakan spesifik di segala level. Di segala level yang saya maksud adalah di maritim, pelabuhan, dan bandara. Jika kolektif kehilangan kulturnya, maka kultur yang berangkat dari 3 pilar tadi, skala 3 pilar tadi, maka tuntutan kita sangatlah mustahil untuk direalisasikan. Ketika kultur kolektif kita itu sangat punya militansi, sangat punya prinsip, maka secara tidak langsung akan menyempurnakan tuntutan kita untuk keberlanjutan masa depan semua para pekerja, baik di pelabuhan, baik di maritim, baik di bandara. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
So I just would like to thank you all. This is the last one, no, Patrícia? É o último, né? Acho que essa é a última, acabou. So I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to say that I learned a lot with you. I learned a lot with Indonesia. I hope to visit Indonesia soon. I know that Indonesia is very important for the future, but only if we can tackle these issues that we discussed here. So I'd like to thank my coordinator, Sérgio Montalvão from Brazil, from the University Federal Fluminense. I would like to thank Patricia and all the other teachers that help us in this journey. And I will wait both for the working groups that will have the final work in the maritime and dockers and the airline working group in Indonesia, so we can finish with concrete issues that we are working. I advise and I urge you to watch all the classes, all the 12 classes. You did not watch all the 12 classes, they're important to be watched so we can debate further on. And I hope I will visit Indonesia one day, and you can go to Brazil, to the university also. The temporary diplomas will be sent. I'll be waiting for the list of the maritime and dockers and of the airline workers. And I also ask you to give this to people and workers from Singapore, from Papua New Guinea, from East Timor, Timor-Leste, from Malaysia, from Brunei, and then we can work together in future classes, because Indonesia can be an example for future classes in the region. And I believe that we can strengthen the solidarity and the contacts and the struggle for a workplace environment and all the other wishes that we saw, and the deep change in society for the benefits of the working class and the people of Indonesia. Thank you so much.
Ya, Marcelo ingin mengucapkan terima kasih untuk kesempatan ini, dan Marcelo berharap bisa datang ke Indonesia untuk bertemu tiga sektor yang malam ini mengikuti pendidikan di pertemuan, kalau tidak salah, ke-12. Jadi harapannya Marcelo bisa berjumpa dengan kawan-kawan pelabuhan, berjumpa dengan kawan-kawan maritim, berjumpa dengan kawan-kawan bandara. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Well, now I give it back to you, especially Anga and Mariachi and you, so you can you can say about your impressions, if you have any questions, anything about the class today, about the course. I'm here to answer. Okay, so I wait for each one of you. Who wants to start? I think Anga has already the camera on, so he wants to start maybe.
Pertama, terima kasih Marcelo selama 12 pertemuan ini memberikan kami banyak pelajaran yang sangat berarti bagi gerakan kita di masa yang akan datang. Untuk hal ini saya sekali lagi mengucapkan terima kasih banyak atas dedikasi Anda untuk kelas ini selama 12 sesi. Saya tadi ingin tanya Marcelo, tadi di awal Anda menyebutkan pentingnya pengorganisasian melalui Dewan Pekerja atau Workers Council untuk mengontrol lingkungan kerja dan rantai pasok di Indonesia. Kalau di Indonesia, struktur yang dominan adalah serikat pekerja. Saya ingin memperjelas saja sebetulnya bagaimana bentuk praktis Dewan Pekerja ini. Apakah dia berbeda atau sama dengan serikat pekerja, supaya kami punya pemahaman yang sama, dan kalau jika berbeda, agar tidak menjadi bentrok dengan fungsi serikat pekerja, melainkan memperkuat posisi tawar pekerja, khususnya misalkan di sektor kami di bandara. Tadi bisa Anda tolong jelaskan. Yang kedua, tadi Marcelo menjelaskan mengenai tuntutan mikro ke makro. Tadi juga dijelaskan bahwa tuntutan kita perlu menjadi tuntutan seluruh masyarakat atau masyarakat yang lebih luas. Saya ingin dengar cerita atau pengalaman dari Marcelo sendiri mengenai contoh-contoh konkret dalam isu lingkungan kerja, baik di industri apapun atau secara spesifik di industri bandara yang kemudian bisa ditransformasikan menjadi isu masyarakat yang lebih luas. Kira-kira itu. Isan minta tolong ya.
Okay, I will translate to you, Marcelo. Angga says, thank you so much about meaningful material until 12 session. And the question is, in your opening presentation, you highlighted the importance of organizing true worker council to gain control over the worker environment and supply chains. However, in Indonesia, the dominant structure is the trade union. What would the particle from these worker councils look like so that they do not conflict with the function of trade unions, but instead strengthen the bargaining position of airport workers? The second question is, you explain also about the progression of demands from the micro to the macro level specifically. How a demand of ours can inflow into a demand shared by the entire community. Do you have any concrete example from your own experience regarding workplace issues at the airport that could be transformed into issues of broader public concern? Give it back to you, Marcelo.
These two questions are very important because they deal with what we aim here, deep transformations, but they also deal with the situation of the working class and the society in Indonesia. The society in Indonesia wants big development, but this development does not go to the workers and the people the way that we want. And one way is to look that people are very individualistic, that the individual is going stronger. And we are not against the individual go stronger. The individual can be strong. There is not a problem with that. But then the individual will be stronger if he is collective. And Indonesia has traditional, valuable, important values that are collective. And most of the time, these values are treated as non-development or against the development, but it's the contrary. We have to find the key that adjusts our collective aim to the individual aim at the bottom. And for that, we have to study every airport, every port, every company, every region, every city, to understand what kind of workers we have in the scale that we presented, and to understand the attacker, the enemy, the boss, the adversary, because I don't work with the perspective of social dialogue all the time. I believe social dialogue is a tool, but when we are powerful, when you are weak, there's no social dialogue. So if you are prepared, if you understand what is the boss, what is its strategy, what is the strategy of the government, and what is your own strategy, you can understand the scale of measuring power. You can understand the scale of individuality, and you can work on it. And the examples. Well, then the South Africans, they have a very interesting word for combined community and trade union actions. They call it social movement unionism. We just lost one great uh, militant and teacher, Eddie Webster from South Africa, recently. He wrote a book about that. I used it in my master's degree when I studied with Jackie in Germany. And I also studied when I studied in South Africa later on. And it's to combine community issues and workers' issues in the same strategy. And I believe that Michel Levy also brings a good contribution to that, because he wants to combine deep change in society that he calls socialism, and I agree with him, and ecology. And this is very interesting because we should combine uh, the workplace environment and the community environment. This is the main thing, Anga, is to talk to the worker, and then the worker see that his workplace is an environment that he should be fighting for with the union. And then we have scales of participation. I hope that we can, Anga, and this is good to translate, Isam, to make a working group on the issues that Anga said. So Anga will send me these questions. We will transform in a working group action, and then we will deal specifically with that. And when I go to Indonesia, we will work on the ground on this in a more superior level. But we can do it. I've seen it in Brazil. I've seen it in South Africa. I've seen it in France. I've seen it in Italy. So we have lots of examples that logistic workers were able to create a workplace environment and to connect it with society in big mobilizations. I give it back to you, Isam.
Oke, jadi uh, menurut Marcelo ini adalah transformasi yang sangat mendalam, sehingga menurut Marcelo melihat bagaimana masyarakat di Indonesia itu menyaksikan pembangunan dan perkembangan di negaranya, namun pembangunan dan perkembangan di Indonesia itu tidak berdampak apa-apa kepada para pekerja di segala sektor, terkhusus di maritim, pelabuhan, dan bandara. Di Indonesia punya nilai tradisional, yaitu sebuah kolektivisme atau berkolektif. Nah, kita harus menemukan kunci untuk berkolektif, dan kita harus mempelajari bagaimana, dan kita harus mempelajari skala pekerja di community. Kita harus mempelajari pekerja di komunitas lain, kita harus mempelajari pekerja di industri lain, kita harus mempelajari pekerja di kota lain atau bahkan di negara lain, supaya kita bisa cepat memahami bagaimana nilai kolektif itu ternyata sangat penting. Jika kamu mengerti strategi dan rute, maka kamu akan menemukan bagaimana kolektif itu akan terbangun. Jadi kemungkinan tiga pilar tadi yang menjadi strategi dan rute yang harus sama-sama mengerti secara utuh dan mendalam. Selanjutnya ada hal yang menarik, yaitu mengkombinasikan atau mengkolaborasikan bagaimana isu di komunitas atau isu di community dan isu di kolektif. Jika itu bisa dikolaborasikan, itu sangat menarik sehingga kita dapat mencobanya. Tentunya nanti di kemudian hari kita akan mempunyai skala bagaimana apa yang dibutuhkan itu tercapai, khususnya yang dibutuhkan oleh serikat pekerja di masing-masing teritori. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Just to say that we have my comrade Avid that just joined us after he will present himself. We studied together in Turin, in Italy, in the ILO school, and I think he can contribute with his view of Indonesia. But I would like to thank ANGA and the airline workers for its contribution. But we have to understand the concrete issues of the airline workers in Indonesia. Of course, we want to understand the strategic and logistic workers and the whole of the working class. But we have to understand how can we make a better workers environment for airline workers at the airport in Indonesia. And that requires a specific study. And that's what I propose as a working group for the final assignment. It's that we work together on that. So Anga will write me and I will write him back and we will work together. And I hope someday I will be in Indonesia so we can work together on it. So I give it back to you, Izam, and then I will go through Jackie issue that she wrote here about the scale of measuring forces. But I first give it back to you to translate.
Oke, Mas Lolo. Terima kasih Angga atas pertanyaannya. Jadi di sektor bandara atau di teritori bandara, kita harus mengerti isu yang spesifik agar mudah memetakan bagaimana isu-isu yang ada bisa dikaitkan dengan 3 pilar yang tadi sudah didiskusikan. Dan harapannya dari Mas Lolo di kemudian hari kita bisa saling berkontribusi atau saling bekerja sama. Give it back to you, Mas Lolo.
So what Chucky said is that it is very hard in the 3 scales of studying our workers. To I always like to emphasize the importance of another 3 pillars. Besides the 3 pillars that we presented today, we have the 3 pillars of the organizing that were presented in the 5th class. It's making the union having more young people, so renewing the board of direction of the union and having more participation of the young. This is one of the pillars. The second pillar is to working in councils, not just members, non-members, direction, non-direction, but having councils, working groups on the ground. And the third one is about educating the cadres, the direction. Is what we are doing right now. So these 3 things will enable to understand the measure of force that Jackie wrote here in the chat. The third pillar is very hard to do it, of course, because it deals with management. Management is what the boss does not want to give the worker. The worker is not to manage anything, not in society, not at the workplace, not at the community, anywhere. So it's hard to do it. But in order to understand the third pillar, we have to understand the 2 before. What is the collective thermometer? What's the collective scale of participation? What is the collective arsenal that we have? How is the mind of the workers? What is the majority? They want to organize, they don't want to organize. Because if we don't have this scale, we cannot deal with management. If we have a working place that's full of people that don't want to organize, they will not manage anything. And the second thing is about the class conscience level. If they just want to work with rights, it's okay, but they will not get to organize, to understand who forms, who fires, who contracts, who hires, who manages the working force, and especially who divides the wealth, the richness that is created in the workplace. So the third pillar is a consequence of the other pillars. We cannot do it separated. I give it back to you, Isam, so you can translate. Thank you.
Ya, jadi berangkat dari pertanyaan Mbak Jeki, jadi tiga pilar yang dijelaskan Marcelo untuk diimplementasikan karena terkadang serikat pekerja fokus pada masalah yang terjadi. Nah, pada poinnya adalah terkadang serikat pekerja hanya fokus pada masalah. Kemudian untuk mengelola organisasi sehingga jawaban Marcelo memang benar itu sangat sulit dilakukan, tapi kita harus berjuang untuk memahami skala kekuatan pekerja menggunakan juga pilar ketiga. Jadi pada kesimpulannya yang saya tanggap, kita harus mengerti apa skala kolektif kita, apa yang kita miliki. Ketika kita ingin mengatur apapun di kolektif kita, berdasarkan prinsip tiga pilar tadi, rasa-rasanya itu bisa dilakukan. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Okay, now I give the floor to Mariatti if she has anything that she wants to add, anything that she wants to add. It's up to you, Mariatti. It's your turn. Please present yourself. Thank you.
Oke, ada Mas Iksan di sini ya. Terima kasih telah memberikan pelajaran yang sangat berguna bagi kita selama 12 sesi ini. Mudah-mudahan bisa bermanfaat untuk kita menularkan kepada kawan-kawan di serikat kita. Saya juga nanti kalau misalnya ada kendala, saya akan bertanya kepada Marcelo by email atau by WhatsApp. Untuk seperti yang tadi dijelaskan juga kurang lebih pertanyaannya masih mirip-mirip Mbak Jeki lah, tadi sudah dijelaskan gitu. Memang kesulitannya adalah kalau kita menghadapi bos kita bagaimana, terus membangun juga untuk teman-teman yang berserikat ini sekarang itu udah mulai agak kurang bersemangat ya. Begitu saja, terima kasih. Mas Iksan, tolong bantu diterjemahin.
Ya, Bu Mariatti, jadi
Yes, Isam, if you can translate, please.
oh, ya, okay. Sorry, Marcelo. Bu Mariatti, our Mariatti says this is very useful for our union. If there are any problems, Mariatti will be contact to you, Marcelo. Maybe via email. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Okay, I would like to thank Mariatti and also Surya that was with us in all these classes, and tell them that we should get one concrete problem from the maritime and the dockers and set up one thing that we can work on it as a final assignment. And I also want to emphasize that the more unity you have among trade unions in the strategic sectors in Indonesia, the more power you have within society and within the workers and within the government. To have labor laws, to have a workers' environment, to have a change in the Indonesian society. So you need unity, and this unity is very important. I just want to thank Mariachi and Surya for the support and all the dockers and the maritime that participated here. Thank you. Give it back to you, Izam.
Ya, Bu Mariati, ini mungkin agak kelewat sedikit apa terjemahnya. Jadi kurang lebih Mas Yelo mengatakan Bu Mariati dan dua sektor lainnya itu berada di sektor strategis. Jadi semua sektor, termasuk sektor Bu Mariati itu perlu persatuan, yang dimana memang persatuan itu menjadi kekuatan di masing-masing serikat. Dan Mas Yelo juga ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Bu Mariati karena terlibat, juga ingin berterima kasih kepada Bung Surya. Mungkin nanti kita bisa mengagendakan untuk membahas hal-hal yang memang kurang dimengerti atau ada yang sedikit menjadi tantangan di menjadi tantangan di union masing-masing. Seperti itu, Bu Mariati. Terima kasih. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
Thank you. This unity is about.
Thank you, Marcelo. Thank you, Pak Iksan.
Thank you. Thank you to you. This unity is about having a common board of dockers in Indonesia. They're not the same trade unions, not the same federations, but a common board to talk with the government, to talk with society of dockers maritime. Then a common board of airline workers. A common board of strategic workers is a bigger one. A common board of logistic workers. In recent, this year, we had in Italy a big strike that was constructed from the bottom with the community, and the squares were occupied from the logistics, so from the ports to the whole of society, because the dockers and the logistic workers didn't want to transport the guns to Palestine. So to the war against the Palestinian people, to Israeli forces. So this is one example. We can build from the bottom solidarity and unity, and this unity will be translated to society if we have a clear agenda and a clear proposition that can be delivered to society. I have a strong belief in the Indonesian society. I don't know much. I have to learn a lot, but I believe, I always like to say that for me, Indonesia is a captain for the future in Southeast Asia. If we can say that India and China are captains, also Indonesia. So these three countries are very important for the future of the planet, for the future of Asia, for the future of humanity. And I believe that if we can raise awareness, if we can have more unity, if we can make the trade unions stronger, the community stronger, the Indonesian society stronger, we will achieve these goals. We have a workplace environment, but also a city, also the society, also the humanity will benefit from that. So I give it back to you to translate, Izam, in this hard task to translate.
Oke, Marcelo. Yang saya tanggap yang dikatakan Marcelo adalah persatuan ini perlu terus dibicarakan, strateginya pun yang berangkat dari 3 pilar tadi perlu terus dibicarakan secara umum, secara global di 3 sektor yang malam hari ini hadir. Jadi solidaritas dan persatuan harus diartikan menjadi sebuah agenda yang sangat jelas supaya masyarakat atau rakyat pekerja atau anggota kita itu bisa terlibat secara aktif. Dan Marcelo juga percaya bahwa Indonesia memiliki masa depan seperti India, Cina, dan lain-lain. Maka yang terakhir, Marcelo mengatakan komunitas atau community yang kuat, serikat yang kuat, tentu akan memberikan keuntungan bagi semua orang yang berada di dalamnya. Give it back to you, Marcelo.
So now I will see what Abid wrote here. Abid, you can watch the classes and pass through your comrades in the other, so they can watch, because it's in the YouTube, all the 12 classes. And I give the floor to you so you can present yourself. I just want to say that we studied last month in Turin, in Italy, in the school of the ILO. We were together there, and it was a great pleasure. He was the only representative from Indonesia in the school, and I was the only representative from Brazil, and so we met there, and it was a great class, and I believe that it can add to this participation. Abid, I give the floor to you so you can present yourself. Abid, can you hear? Are you there, Abid? Sometimes the internet takes a while. Your micro is closed, Abid, so I don't know if you can hear me or not. But while you're taking your time, I want to I think Jackie wants to state something. No, Jackie, because you light the camera. So.
Finally, I can talk, and I'm so sorry. I was outside, so I just listened what you just explained to us, and Isan tried to translate it, and it was really amazing. And like what we just said before, I also would like to thanks to you, Marcelo, and also Patricia, because in the 12th session, maybe I only attend 2-3 times. I'm so sorry, but I'm happy that port and airport can work together. And this is a good experience for all of us, because I saw also in the YouTube, not only with Indonesia, but also in other country, you made the online class. And I hope that airport and port can work together, maritime can work together in Indonesia especially, and then we can finally implement it, what we have learned from you. And this is really important for Indonesia, like you said before. Thank you, Marcelo.
Thank you, because I always want to work with Indonesia workers, and I really believe that now we have the president of my union. He went into the ILO meeting and the BRICS meeting, and we all are watching more and more Indonesian trade union leaders and government and people from society, so we understanding more each other. So this exchange will make us richer. It will give us more opportunities. But I would like you to translate what you said and what I said, because otherwise the people will not understand.
Baik, teman-teman sekalian, saya tadi barusan mengatakan pada Marcelo bahwa saya mengucapkan terima kasih. Selama ini Marcelo sudah memberikan kelas online untuk kita selama 12 sesi, walaupun saya mungkin hadirnya hanya 2-3 kali sesi saja. Kelas ini sangat penting bagi kita dan saya berharap kelas online ini dapat menyatukan antara pekerja bandara dengan pekerja pelabuhan dan juga maritim, bahwa kerjasama atau sebelumnya Marcello mengatakan bahwa kita perlu adanya kelompok kerja. Nah, ini merupakan satu hal yang penting bagi kita khususnya di Indonesia, karena Marcello tidak hanya membuat kelas ini di Indonesia, tapi juga dia membuatnya di negara-negara lain. Lalu Marcello juga mengatakan bahwa terima kasih juga untuk Indonesia bahwa dengan kelas online yang dia lakukan di Indonesia ini merupakan satu hal yang penting yang menjadi tolok ukur juga untuk mengetahui kekuatan kelas pekerja di seluruh dunia, khususnya di negara-negara yang saat ini sedang dilakukan oleh Marcello, yaitu di Indonesia. Baik itu pekerja di bandara dan pekerja pelabuhan, perlu adanya kerjasama dan pembangunan kekuatan. Marcello.
Thank you, Jackie. Avid, you want to add something? I know that you wrote here that I thank you, saying that I'm inspiring friend, senior, and mentor. Thank you. You are also for me that, because I learned a lot with you all, and it's also a great experience for me to understand and to strive to understand in these many sectors and many countries. It's because we share a common culture. That's why it's very important to see the sixth class, the labor culture. It's what we share. And then we share also solidarity, is the 10th class, the internationalism. It's a solidarity. And the stronger is the one that can give. Give solidarity is the stronger. And that's why I believe that Indonesia has a role in the countries that I want to have classes in the future. Papua New Guinea, East Timor, Brunei, Malaysia, Singapore. Even though Singapore is a very strong country, but it's small. So Indonesia is a big country. So it has big responsibility in Southeast Asia, in ASEAN, and in humanity. I believe this, if we can work on these points, the development of Indonesia must reflect the development of Indonesian people and the working class. And this starts at the workplace. So I would like to finish asking you to see all the classes, also asking you to send me your views, airline and maritime, and now with Avid, if he wants to send other issues. Avid loves to work with youth, so he can send me also the youth issues in this sector. Then we can work together. And all of you are asked to send me the list of those who graduate. I only ask you to watch the classes, the 12 classes. Every one of them has something to give you an input to make your collective arsenal stronger, and also to thank again all the teachers, all the mentors, all the students, the university in Brazil, Federal Fluminense, my coordinator, Sergio Montalvão, the teachers that inspire me, José Paulo Neto and Michel Levy, and all the workers. Thank you so much. And I give back to you to translate, and I give you back to you the final work so we can finish. Okay?
Jadi Marcello mengatakan bahwa tadi Afid menyebutkan bahwa dia adalah seorang teman dan mentor senior yang menginspirasi Afid, dan Marcello juga mengatakan bahwa dia banyak belajar dari Afid dan juga banyak belajar dari teman-teman di Indonesia betapa pentingnya kerjasama yang terjadi melalui kelas online ini, dan ini juga menjadi harapan bagi Marcello. Kalau seandainya ada kesempatan dia bisa dapat mengunjungi Indonesia, dan dia juga ingin membuka kelas-kelas lainnya, bukan hanya di Indonesia, tapi juga di Papua Nugini, di Timor Leste, dan juga di Singapura. Singapura itu negara kecil tapi kuat. Nah, Indonesia itu negara yang besar, sehingga Indonesia menjadi satu contoh yang bagus untuk di Asia Tenggara maupun di ASEAN. Harapannya Marcelo dapat tetap melakukan kontak dengan kawan-kawan, dan juga kalau ada kawan-kawan yang ingin selalu berhubungan dengan Marcelo bisa mengirimkan beberapa masukan dan juga beberapa pertanyaan-pertanyaan untuk Marcelo, dan juga nanti akan diberikan semacam tanda kelulusan atas keikutsertaan teman-teman di kelas online ini. Dia juga mengucapkan terima kasih kepada koleganya yang ada di Brasil. Marcelo juga mengucapkan terima kasih kepada koordinator dan juga mentornya dan juga gurunya yang sudah memberikan banyak sekali bimbingan untuk Marcelo. Dan untuk menutup kelas ini, dia mengucapkan terima kasih kepada kita semua. Marcelo. Marcelo, before you finish, I would like to tell you, maybe this is only a share, a little bit late, but only 1 minute. Before I must explain in Indonesia language. Jadi saya mau mengatakan bahwa yang dikatakan Marcelo kerjasama antara bandara dan port dengan pelabuhan itu merupakan satu statement yang sangat bagus yang juga menginspirasi, karena saya membaca dari sebuah buku yang direkomendasi oleh Marcelo, buku dari seorang perempuan hebat namanya Rosa Luxemburg yang menuliskan buku yang sangat indah dan bagus yang berjudul Strike Mass, The Strike Mass. Nah, di dalam buku itu di bab ke-6 ada tertulis kerjasama antara pekerja yang diorganize maupun yang tidak diorganize untuk sebuah kemenangan. Dan ini pernyataan yang sangat menginspirasi untuk kita antara bandara dengan port. So Marcelo, I just mentioned to our colleague, our comrade, that what you just mentioned, what you just explained to us, to work together between the worker, transport worker in Indonesia, or the whole worker in Indonesia, especially worker in the airport and the port, is really important. Working together across the worker in Indonesia is make me remember the book that you just shared to me by WhatsApp, a book from the great woman Rosa Luxemburg, and I just mentioned to them because I'm in the process to translate this book, and I want our comrade to read all the book. In this book, in chapter 6, in the Strike Mass, Rosa wrote that the working together between the organized and unorganized worker could be done for the victory, and this is really important. That's it.
Well, this is so great because one of my mentors, Michel Levy, he based his work in much of the Rosa Luxemburg work, and this is one of the things that we should be looking, is the capacity of organizing not just members and non-members, but in working councils that Rosa Luxemburg, Gramsci, they stressed a lot. And I'm available so we can develop this either for port workers or for maritime or for airline workers or any other worker that you think that we can fit this. I am available. Okay, so let me know if you need, because this knowledge is very important, as Michel Levy stressed, is this capacity of engage politically in the trade union, to organize in the working councils and raise awareness for gender, religion, for minorities, for ecology, and then raise awareness for a deep change in society from the workers' environment perspective. We cannot change the planet if our environment at work is not good. And that's why I give it back to you so you can translate. And I can just say that I love to be here. I'm very honored. It's one of the classes that I will keep. I think Patricia thinks the same. It's one of the classes that brings me a lot of joy to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Terima kasih. Tadi Marcelo mengatakan bahwa menanggapi apa yang saya sampaikan, bahwa salah satu mentornya yaitu Michelle Lovett juga mengatakan bahwa dia termasuk orang yang melakukan terlibat dalam kerja-kerja pemikiran Rosa Luxemburg, dan dia mengatakan bahwa ini juga merupakan ide yang bagus ketika kita bisa membahas. Bahkan Michelle Lovett mengatakan bahwa pekerja yang terorganisir maupun yang tidak terorganisir bukan hanya itu saja, tapi mencakup oleh keseluruhan pekerja. Jadi bukan hanya yang sudah diorganize atau belum yang diorganize, tapi juga berbasis gender, kemudian yang masuk dalam golongan minoritas, dan juga kita membahas tentang ekologi. Nah, pemikiran seperti ini dapat kita bahas bersama karena ini menjadi satu kekuatan yang penting oleh seluruh pekerja, baik itu yang di bandara maupun yang di pelabuhan dan juga pekerja maritim. Sehingga penting, dan Marcelo bersedia untuk meluangkan waktunya kalau kita semua mau melakukan diskusi bersama terkait pemikiran ini. Karena kata Marcelo, kita tidak bisa mengubah planet. Yang bisa kita lakukan adalah kita bisa menggalang satu persatuan untuk kemajuan bersama, dan ini menjadi satu tolok ukur kita bagi seluruh pekerja di Indonesia yang dapat menggalang bersama-sama melalui pemikiran. Karena bukan hanya pemikiran, ini merupakan satu gabungan antara pemikiran Rosa, Gramsci, dan mungkin nama-nama yang lain yang teman-teman sudah kenal. Namun ini juga menjadi satu pemicu bagi kita untuk kembali mendiskusikan dan mengimplementasikannya di dalam tempat kerja kita masing-masing. Terima kasih untuk semuanya, terima kasih atas kelas ini, dan saya sangat senang berada di kelas ini bersama teman-teman. Demikian dari Marcelo.
Yeah, terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Kasih to you all. Thank you so much. Terima kasih. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. Keep on, and I'm available for any question that you have in the 12 classes. And let's work on the working groups for airline, dockers, and the maritime, and then we can finish. And I urge you to watch all the 12 classes. So everyone that you send me that has watched the 12 classes that is important for you to organize, and this is also for you, Avid, today. You can watch the 12 classes, and then you can ask the others to watch the 12 classes, and you have the same diploma. Okay? So all the best. Terima kasih.
Terima
Until
kasih.
next time. So hope to see you in Indonesia. All the best.
All the best.
All the best.